no numbers, there's no pictures, there's no videos, there's no gameplay. I don't like it.
Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. Today, Freemers, we are back with both another Palia video and as well as a Free Realms video. So today I want to talk about how Free Realms and Palia may be connected. Now, this might be a bit of a reach. You guys might thinking, you might be thinking, Kyle, you got some high doses of copium, and you know what, you might be right. But I've been reading and covering the lore of Palia for a bit. I've been going over everything I find, putting it into like a story. And dude, there's some evidence that might support how we are, how Free Realms and Palia are truly connected. Hear me out, okay? That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Now I'm gonna paint you guys a picture. If you don't know what the Free Realms Sunset is, if you guys are new Palia players and you don't know what Free Realms is, it was a video game that Palia is kind of like, but it was obviously developed by SOE, not Singularity 6, but the games are kind of similar. Now, we're going to talk about how the Free Realm Sunset happened. It's pretty simple, but I got you guys an image to kind of look at, ponder for yourself. So let's just get into it. So we're going to talk about this image right here, and actually the text came with the image, the day the Earth stood still. Now, the whole shutdown of Free Realms was called the Sunset. SOE shut it down because, well, basically they ran out of money to fund things. I think that's like the major thing. They ran out of money, which that happens if you develop a live service game. But, it's kind of poetic that SOE considers it a sunset. That's what they called it. They made a graphic for it and everything. And I think it's poetic because a lot of people were standing at Seaside when this all happened. They were standing out of bounds of the map, and wherever you were standing, I believe, you could see a sunset, for the most part. You probably, if you were in other different regions of Free Realms, you wouldn't have seen the sunset, but I think it really is poetic. This image kind of shows it, But as poetic as it is, it was sad. I have a sad sunset story if you guys want to see that, or I have a video for it somewhere on this channel. Anywho, getting back into the contents of this video, that's the whole sunset happened, and for a decade, we didn't have a game to play, for the most part. I found a game to play, but a lot of people didn't. They were kind of lost. Now, with Palia entering the fold, everything kind of changed, right? And for me, personally, I do think there is some kind of connection, and it kind of starts at the beginning of Palia's lore. Palia's lore starts out with, and I want to say it starts out with, humans kind of messing with flow too much. So, I want to describe Palia's beginning lore kind of like Destiny's Golden Age. So if you know what Destiny's Golden Age is, the Golden Age of Destiny, which Destiny is, it's another video game, they had a golden age in where everyone was thriving, everything was going great. There were so many advancements in society and technology, and all of that kind of fell apart. Now, this is similar in Palia's lore, except there isn't really, it's like they're making so many advancements with flow. Flow is like changing everything, right? And it's changing so much in their society. Like there's a lot of nods to the humans being the bad guys in this situation with flow. There's, I believe, 2 lore entries specifically that I want to discuss. Again, I'm not going to go deep into Palia's lore, but I'm going to give you guys a basic idea of what the humans were trying to cover up. And I do want to pair this to Free Realms a little bit. Now, Palia's first, I would say first lore entry that I found interesting was there was a guy, and I think he's probably mentioned again in the second thing I want to talk about. There's a guy who was in charge or tasked with covering up stuff that was going on with flow. He was basically shutting things down, making sure no one knew what was going on. People were asking questions. He didn't answer them. This guy was trying to cover everything up and shut things down. Basically telling people, everything's fine, go back to what you're doing, everything's perfect. That guy, we still don't know the name of. We don't know who it is. and I assume he's going to be a character in the forefront at some point, but basically this guy took it upon himself to cover things up. Like, nothing was going wrong with Flow, but there was a bigger issue at hand that needed to be discussed. They weren't talking about it. There's another lore entry in where basically it doesn't talk about the guy, but it mentions that the portal from the air temple in Palia, if you guys know what I'm talking about, was shut off. Basically, the people that were researching in the air temple were shut off from going back to the land of Palia. They were shut off from leaving the temple. And there was literally a lore entry of a team of these, part of the team in that air temple took a silver wing and tried to fly back to where they were from. And both the silver wing and the people died. So there's a lot of cover up with Palia's lore. A lot of this one guy trying to cover everything up, and I think they need to go deeper with it, but there were also people in charge of these temples. Now, I don't want to get too deep, but I do believe that there could be a parallel in this lore with this dude covering everything up and basically Flow being the main issue of all these problems that they don't want to talk about. I want to pair that to Free Realms a little bit. I think in the lore, there's a reference to SOE, like, shutting Free Realms down. Basically, SOE shut down Free Realms without any explanation as to why. People had to find out for themselves about what happened. And, you know, I think it's just, it's kind of an indication of, like, okay, so it's, you know, it might be a reach, right? I do think there's some kind of parallel there with SOE shutting Free Realms down, this guy covering everything up, trying to shut down these devices and make sure nothing works. It's a whole thing. If you want to read the lore for yourself, it's in-game. You can go and find it. I don't remember where it is, but I do have it on my channel if you guys want to see that. There is, I've talked about the lore lots, and I plan on doing more. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is obviously the humans coming back. There is, obviously, when Palia launched, we came back from Flow. Now, I don't know what Flow is, right? I don't. But I do want to think that us coming back, humans coming back, is a reference to Free Realms. In some way, shape, or form, I do think it's a reference because, you know, when the sunset happened, we were gone. We just disappeared without a trace. And that's kind of what happens in the lore. The humans disappear when all that Flow stuff happens, and the story's not completely done yet. We don't know what happened when the humans disappeared or why they disappeared. We just know they disappeared. That's another reference. That could be another reference to Free Realms of Sunset. Again, might be a reach. But I do think there's some correlation there with us coming back now and it being Palia. It might be a coincidence, but I do think there's some type of reference there in us coming back. And if that's not too much of a reach, I don't know, man. I do think there's some connection between Free Realms and Palia in that respect, that, you know, we disappeared for a while with no explanation. SOE shutting Free Realms down with no explanation. We come back, you know, there's so many unknowns. And I do want to think Singularity 6 knows about Free Realms. They have to know. There's too many nods. There's too many references. There's too many things they're putting in-game that's like Free Realms. On top of that, Daybreak Games acquired Singularity 6. Daybreak Games used to be Sony Online Entertainment. Coincidence? I think not. All right? There's a connection there. Listen, I think Free Realms and Palia are connected. I think they're not the same game, but it is an attempt at building a bridge. I think there's just a super cool connection there in the lore and how the game starts. There's a lot of different nods to ideas there. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm not. But I think it's a cool idea to think Singularity 6 tried to write in the lore. They tried to put it into the game that, hey, we know where you guys came from. We're bringing you back into the fold. Welcome home. The whole welcome home slogan too, that's what made me think, okay, there's something here, right? Welcome home? What do you mean welcome home? You know, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but I think it's a cool idea regardless to think that if this is the continuation from Free Realms, cool. Awesome. Don't like that Daybreak Games is a part of this, but hey, it's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, dude. Come on, man. Daybreak Games, you could have chosen any other company, but you chose the one that killed Free Realms. You know? Ah. But anywho, that's going to be the video for today. But thank you guys for watching. If you did, as always, I appreciate it a ton. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.